Commander Alex Hayes stood on the bridge of the U.S. Endeavour, watching the stars through the main view screen. The ship hummed quietly around him, its crew working at their stations with practiced efficiency. "Commander, we're approaching the signal source," said Lieutenant Mary Jackson from the sensor station. Her eyes never left her screen as her fingers danced across the controls. Alex nodded. "Slow to half speed. Let's be careful here." This was supposed to be a routine mission, investigate an unusual signal detected at the edge of our solar system. But Alex had been in space long enough to know that routine often meant about to get complicated. "Signal is getting stronger, sir," Mary reported. "Definitely artificial, and not matching any known human patterns." A tense silence fell over the bridge. Everyone knew what this might mean. After centuries of searching the stars, humanity might finally have found proof they weren't alone. "I'm detecting a small vessel," said Mary, her voice barely containing her excitement. "It appears damaged. There are life signs aboard. Not human." Alex took a deep breath. "Open a channel, all frequencies. Standard greeting package." Communications Officer Joe Kelly sent the carefully prepared first contact message. Mathematical sequences, basic scientific information, and simple greetings in multiple languages that Earth's scientists had prepared decades ago for this exact moment. Minutes passed. The crew held their breath. Then the view screen flickered, and everyone gasped. A face appeared, clearly alien, with purple-tinted skin, large almond-shaped eyes, and no visible nose. "This is Scout Commander Zeltris of the Vilesi Exploration Guild, operating under Galactic Council authority," the alien said in perfect English. "We require no assistance from primitive vessels." Alex blinked in surprise. "You speak our language." The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. "We have studied your broadcasts for decades. Your species is quite loud. Now please withdraw. We have no interest in barbarians who have barely escaped their own atmosphere." Alex felt a flash of anger, but kept his voice steady. "Your ship appears damaged. We're offering help, not looking for trouble." The alien's expression changed slightly. "Our propulsion system suffered a minor failure. Nothing concerning for an advanced species, though perhaps impressive to barbarians like yourselves." "Barbarians or not," Alex said, "we have repair capabilities. And you're in our solar system." After a long pause, the alien reluctantly agreed. Alex sent over their best engineering team led by Chief Engineer Linda Reese. Hours later, Linda returned to the Endeavour. "Their technology is amazing, sir," she reported. "But their attitude is terrible. They kept calling us primitive apes while we fixed their engine." "Did you learn anything useful?" Alex asked. Linda smiled. "They didn't watch us very carefully. I took detailed scans of everything. And they let some things slip. Apparently, they're part of something called the Galactic Council, a group of 27 advanced species that governs most of the known universe. They're just scouts. And they think we're barbarians," Alex said thoughtfully. "Sir," Communications Officer Kelly interrupted. "The Vilesi ship is hailing us." The alien commander appeared on screen again. "Repairs are acceptable. We will now depart." There was no gratitude in his tone. "A word of advice, humans, stay in your own backyard. The Council has no place for war-loving primitives. Perhaps in a few centuries, when you've become properly civilized, you may petition for membership." Before Alex could respond, the alien ship accelerated away at an impossible speed, vanishing among the stars. Alex stared at the empty screen. "Record everything," he ordered. "Every scan, every word. Earth needs to know." He looked around at his crew's shocked faces. "We just learned two important things today. We're not alone in the universe, and our neighbors think we're barbarians." He smiled grimly. "I think they might be underestimating us." Dr. Samantha Miller had never imagined she would represent all of humanity to alien life forms. Yet here she was, aboard a small diplomatic vessel, approaching the massive Galactic Council station. The structure was unlike anything humans had built, a gleaming ring orbiting a neutron star, harvesting its energy in ways Earth scientists had only theorized about. "It's beautiful," whispered Peter Grant, her assistant and Earth's second ambassador. His eyes were wide with wonder. "Remember why we're here," Samantha said. "They think we're barbarians. We need to change their minds." Their ship docked at the station under the watchful eyes of Council security vessels. The human ambassadors were greeted by a tall, blue-skinned alien who introduced himself as Kraz, a minor diplomatic official. "The Council does not typically grant audiences to non-member species," Kraz said, leading them through corridors filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human. Others were so strange Samantha couldn't tell which parts were heads and which were limbs. "Your case is unusual." They entered an enormous chamber. Hundreds of alien representatives sat in tiered seats surrounding the central speaking area. The chamber hummed with translated conversations from dozens of different species. Kraz directed them to a small platform. "The primitives from Earth," he announced, making no effort to hide the disdain in his voice. A large screen activated, showing footage of Earth, but not the footage Samantha had expected. Instead of showing human achievements, it displayed wars, violence, and environmental damage. The images were carefully selected to make humans look as savage as possible. "These are the creatures seeking Council recognition," said a Vilesi representative, the same purple-skinned species they had first encountered. "They spend more resources on weapons than on medicine. They'd fight over invisible lines on their planet. They destroy their own environment. They are barbarians, barely out of their Stone Age." Murmurs of agreement spread through the chamber. Samantha gripped the railing of their platform, trying to stay calm. "The Guardians recommend quarantine protocols," the Vilesi continued, "for their own protection, of course." Finally, Samantha was allowed to speak. She stepped forward, heart pounding. "Respected Council members," she began, "I am Dr. Samantha Miller of Earth. Yes, we have a history of conflict. What species doesn't? But look at our progress. In just a few centuries, we've gone from horse-drawn carriages to space travel. We've cured diseases, fed billions, and created art that touches the soul." She motioned to Peter, who activated their own presentation, showing human scientific achievements, space exploration, and cultural expressions. "We don't claim to be perfect," Samantha continued, "but we are not barbarians. We are explorers, dreamers, builders. We seek friendship with the Council, not conflict." A tall, insect-like alien rose from the Council seats. "Pretty words from a primitive species, but actions speak louder. Your kind built nuclear weapons before you had proper food distribution. You developed space travel while millions on your planet still lacked clean water." Other Council members nodded in agreement. After hours of debate, the Council president, a wispy, cloud-like being, announced their decision. "The human application for observer status is denied. Earth will be placed under standard monitoring protocols. Council satellites will be positioned around your solar system for your protection. Your species will be allowed limited trade with approved Council members, but must restrict space travel to your own system until you demonstrate sufficient cultural advancement." Samantha felt rage building inside her. This wasn't protection. It was containment. The Vilesi representative approached them after the session. "Do not be discouraged," he said with false sympathy. "In a few hundred years, perhaps your grandchildren will be civilized enough to join us." As they were escorted back to their ship, Peter whispered, "They've made up their minds about us before giving us a chance." Samantha nodded grimly. "They think we're barbarians who need to be kept in a cage. They have no idea what humans do when backed into a corner." Fleet Admiral William Carter stared at the emergency message on his screen. His face grew pale as he read it again. He had been woken at 3 a.m. for this, and now he understood why. "Have we confirmed this?" he asked the woman standing across from his desk. Captain Susan Lee nodded. "Yes, sir. Our research outpost in the Orion Arm has been attacked. The Draxic are responsible." William sighed. The Draxic were an aggressive species operating at the edges of Council space. Earth had learned about them through limited trade contacts with friendlier Council races. How many people were at the outpost? 200 scientists and their families, Susan said quietly. We believe most are still alive, being held captive. William stood up and walked to the window of his office. Earth shone blue and beautiful below the orbital command station. 5 years had passed since the Council had placed their protective satellites around the solar system. 5 years of humans pushing against the unfair restrictions, building secret outposts beyond Council monitoring. Have we contacted the Council? Susan's face hardened. We sent distress calls hours ago. They responded with a message saying they would look into the matter and advise patience. In other words, they don't care, William said bitterly. We have intelligence suggesting they have no plans to intervene. Our sources indicate that the Council considers the loss of a barbarian outpost to be inconsequential. William slammed his fist on the desk. 200 people are inconsequential. Families with children. Susan hesitated before speaking again. Sir, there's something else. Surveillance suggests the Draxic may have been following secret orders from someone within the Council. You're saying this was deliberate? William felt cold anger building inside him. We can't prove it yet, but the timing and targeting seem too perfect to be random. William pulled up a star map on his screen. The Orion outpost was 3 days' journey at maximum speed, well beyond the Council's containment zone. A rescue mission would violate Council restrictions and could trigger an interstellar incident. What forces do we have available? He asked. Susan looked surprised. Sir, are you considering a rescue operation? Without Council approval. I'm considering doing what's right, William said. Those are our people out there. If the Council won't help them, we will. Susan straightened. We have 3 of our newest warships within range, sir. The Defiance, the Liberty, and the Courage. Good ships. Good names. William nodded. And who's commanding the squadron? Captain Lisa Rodriguez, sir. One of our best. William remembered Lisa. Tough, smart, and not afraid to bend rules when necessary. Perfect for this mission. He activated his secure communication channel. Get me Captain Rodriguez. Priority Alpha. Minutes later, Lisa's face appeared on the screen. She looked alert despite the early hour. Admiral Carter, she said. What can I do for you, sir? William explained the situation briefly. This won't be an authorized mission, Captain. The Council has made it clear they won't intervene. If you go in, you're on your own. Lisa didn't hesitate. When do we leave, sir? Immediately. But Lisa, William leaned closer to the screen. This is a rescue mission only. Get our people out. Avoid conflict if possible. And if conflict isn't possible to avoid, she asked. William's expression hardened. Then you show the Draxic why they shouldn't have messed with Earth. After the call ended, Susan looked at the Admiral with concern. Sir, if the Council discovers we've sent warships outside our containment zone, then they'll finally learn something important about humans, William said. We don't abandon our own. And we don't take kindly to being caged. As dawn broke over Earth, 3 human warships silently slipped past the Council monitoring satellites, their stealth systems hiding them from alien sensors. Operation Silent Thunder had begun. Captain Lisa Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiance, watching the stars streak by on the main view screen. Her ship, along with the Liberty and the Courage, had been traveling at maximum speed for nearly 3 days. They were deep in Draxic territory now, their presence hidden by stealth technology reverse-engineered from studying Council vessels. Status report, Lisa ordered. Stealth systems functioning at optimal levels, replied First Officer Eric Bennett. We're completely invisible to their sensors. And the research outpost. Communications Officer Diane Russell looked up from her station. We're receiving weak emergency signals, Captain. Life signs detected. They're alive. A collective sigh of relief spread through the bridge. Lisa allowed herself a small smile. Finding survivors had been their first concern. Now came the hard part, getting them out alive. "Put the outpost on screen," she ordered. The view screen changed to show a small scientific base built into the side of an asteroid. Several Draxic vessels surrounded it. The Draxic were reptilian creatures known for their aggressive expansion and brutal treatment of prisoners. 3 enemy warships, multiple smaller vessels, reported Tactical Officer Nathan Ward. "Heavy weapons, but older models. Nothing we can't handle." "We're not here to fight unless necessary," Lisa reminded him. "Our priority is the hostages." She studied the enemy formation, looking for weaknesses. The Draxic clearly weren't expecting company. Their patrol patterns were lazy, their sensor suites minimal. "I have a plan," Lisa said. "The Liberty will create a distraction by triggering a radiation burst from that nearby nebula. The Courage will position itself to block their retreat path. The Defiance will approach from below the asteroid's horizon and deploy rescue teams." Her officers nodded, their faces showing both tension and determination. They all knew the risks. If discovered, they would be outnumbered and far from reinforcements. 6 hours later, Lisa led the first rescue team into the outpost. With their advanced battle armor and weapons, they moved quickly through the corridors. The Draxic guards, surprised by the sudden attack, offered little resistance. In the main hall of the outpost, they found the hostages, scientists, technicians, and their families huddled together under guard. Lisa felt cold fury seeing children among them, some injured and all terrified. "We're from Earth," she announced. "We're here to take you home." The relief on the hostages' faces quickly turned to joy. As her teams secured the area, Lisa approached Dr. Alan Foster, the outpost's director. "Captain Rodriguez," he said, his voice weak but grateful. "How did you find us? We thought the Council had abandoned us." "They did," Lisa said simply. "Earth didn't." As the evacuation began, Lisa's second team returned from the command center with unexpected news. "Captain, we found something," said Lieutenant Kelly Brown, holding a Draxic data device. "It contains orders from the Council, or at least certain members of it. The attack wasn't random." Lisa examined the device. "They were ordered to attack us." "Why?" "To test our military readiness," Kelly explained. "To see how we would respond." A Draxic officer, captured during the raid, watched them from where he was being held. His scaled face couldn't show much expression, but his eyes held a mixture of fear and what seemed like respect. "Your kind fight well," he said in broken English. "Not like other new species." Lisa approached him. "What do you mean?" The Draxic tilted his head. "Council lies. Many young species destroyed. Too dangerous. They say. Humans on list." Lisa felt a chill. "Are you saying the Council deliberately suppresses new civilizations?" "Not all Council. Secret group. 5 species. Called Guardians." The Draxic officer nodded toward the data device. "Proof there." As the last of the hostages boarded the rescue ships, Lisa made a decision. Instead of destroying the Draxic vessels as originally planned, she left them disabled but intact. "Tell your leaders," she said to the captured officer before releasing him, "that humans aren't barbarians. We could have destroyed you all, but we chose not to." She held up the data device. "And tell your Council contacts that their secret is out." As the human ships departed with their rescued people, Lisa sent a message to Admiral Carter. "Mission successful. All hostages recovered. But sir, this goes deeper than we thought. The Council has been lying to everyone." Intelligence Officer Daniel Wright had never seen anything like the Draxic data device. For 3 days straight, he and his team had worked to decrypt its contents. Now, as the final files opened on his screen, he sat back in shock. "Get Admiral Carter," he told his assistant. "Now." 30 minutes later, Daniel stood in the secure briefing room with Admiral Carter, Captain Rodriguez, and Earth's top military and political leaders. The atmosphere was tense as Daniel prepared his presentation. "What we discovered is worse than we thought," Daniel began. The Draxic files confirm the existence of a secret group within the Council called the Guardians. It consists of 5 species, including the Vilesi, who were the first aliens we met. He displayed images of the 5 Guardian species on the main screen: the purple-skinned Vilesi, the insect-like Targens, the crystalline Korvax, and 2 other alien races humans had never encountered. Their stated mission is to protect galactic stability by identifying and neutralizing potential threats before they can develop. In reality, they're making sure no new species can challenge their power. Daniel brought up a star map showing dozens of marked systems. These are civilizations the Guardians have sabotaged over the past 1,000 years. Some were destroyed outright. Others were stunted, forced into technological dead ends, or manipulated into devastating wars. He turned to face the room directly. Humanity was next on their list. They've been studying us for decades. They consider us especially dangerous because of what they call our unusual combination of aggression and innovation. Admiral Carter leaned forward. So the Council's restrictions weren't about protecting us. They were about containing us. Yes, sir. And the attack on our outpost was a test, to assess our military capabilities and see how we would respond. The room fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. There's more, Daniel continued. The majority of Council species don't know about these activities. The Guardians operate in secret, even from their own governments. President Laura Phillips broke the silence. Options. Admiral Carter spoke first. We could bring this evidence to the full Council, force the Guardians into the open. They'd deny everything, Captain Rodriguez countered. And we'd be revealing that we violated Council restrictions by rescuing our people. Before anyone could respond further, an urgent message came through. The room's main screen activated to show a Council representative, not one of the Guardians, but a minor official with blue skin. Attention Earth authorities, the alien said formally. The Council has voted to formally censure your planet for unauthorized military action in Draxic space. You are ordered to surrender all warships immediately as a peacekeeping measure. Refusal will be considered an act of war. President Phillips stood. We were rescuing our people after you refused to help. We have evidence that certain Council members orchestrated the attack. The alien's expression didn't change. Your accusations are noted but dismissed as barbarian paranoia. You have 48 hours to comply. After the transmission ended, the room erupted in angry voices. They're trying to disarm us before we can expose them, Daniel said. President Phillips raised her hand for silence. We will not surrender our ships. If they want war, they'll get one. Admiral Carter nodded grimly. The Guardian species have declared us enemies, but the rest of the Council is neutral. They still think we're just primitive barbarians with a handful of ships. A slow smile spread across his face. They have no idea what's waiting for them. Captain Rodriguez looked confused. Sir, what do you mean? The Admiral exchanged glances with the President, who nodded her approval. Captain, Admiral Carter said, it's time you learned about Project Cerberus. For the past 5 years, while the Council thought they were containing us, we've been building something in secret, something that will change everything. He activated a secure channel on his tablet. General Sutton, this is Admiral Carter. Initiate Cerberus protocol. The sleeping giant wakes today. General Catherine Sutton stood in the command center buried deep beneath the lunar surface. Around her, dozens of officers monitored screens showing different parts of the solar system. The mood was tense but focused. Status report, Catherine demanded. Colonel Frank Martinez approached with a tablet. All ships report ready, General. Activation sequences complete across all bases. Catherine nodded with satisfaction. For 5 years, she had overseen humanity's greatest secret, Project Cerberus. While the Council's monitoring satellites watched Earth's official shipyards, humans had been building in places the aliens never thought to look. On screen, she ordered. The main display activated, showing a massive underground hangar. Inside were rows of warships unlike anything Earth had officially produced. Their sleek, dark hulls absorbed light rather than reflecting it. Their designs combined reverse-engineered alien technology with innovative human approaches. "Luna Base fully activated," reported an officer. "All 50 vessels powered up and ready for launch." Catherine smiled. Luna Base was just the beginning. Mars shipyards. 75 vessels ready, General. Jupiter cloud stations. 120 vessels reporting green status. Saturn ring facility. 60 vessels plus support craft, all ready. Asteroid belt factories. 190 vessels ready for deployment. Catherine took a deep breath. Almost 500 warships hidden throughout the solar system. 5 years of secret construction, using resources mined from asteroids and moons to avoid detection. 5 years of preparation for this moment. Her secure comm unit beeped. Admiral Carter's face appeared on the small screen. "Is it true, Kate?" he asked, using her nickname from their academy days. "Are the ships really ready?" "See for yourself, Phil," she replied, sending him the feed from her command center. She heard his sharp intake of breath as the images reached him. "My God," he whispered, "how did you keep this hidden?" "The Council's arrogance," Catherine explained. "They only monitor our official shipyards. They never believed barbarians could be smart enough to build elsewhere. Their satellites watch Earth's orbit but ignore the dark side of the moon, the clouds of Jupiter, the rings of Saturn. Perfect hiding places. And the ships, how advanced are they?" Catherine's eyes gleamed with pride. "We've been studying their technology for years. Every trade ship, every diplomatic vessel, we scanned them all. Then we improved on their designs. These ships are faster, more maneuverable, and better armed than anything the Guardian species have." "What about the other Council races? The neutral ones?" "Our intelligence suggests most will stay out of the fight," Catherine said. "They've been fed the same lies about us being primitive barbarians. They expect the Guardian forces to easily crush us." Admiral Carter's expression hardened. "The Guardian fleet entered our system an hour ago. Their commander, a Vilesi named Zexterra, has demanded our surrender again. When we refused, he laughed and said a handful of human ships would be no match for their superior technology." Catherine smiled grimly. "Let them come. Let them find out what happens when you cornered humans." She turned to her communications officer. "Send the launch signal to all bases. Authentication code. Sleeping giant." Throughout the solar system, hidden doors opened. Concealed hangars powered up. Ships that had never seen sunlight began to rise. On the far side of the moon, 50 warships emerged from beneath the lunar surface. Among the asteroids, nearly 200 vessels detached from hidden docking bays. From Jupiter's massive storm clouds, specialized craft designed to withstand extreme conditions took formation. From Saturn's rings, ships that had been disguised as ordinary ice chunks activated their engines. From Mars' polar caps, vessels broke through the icy covering that had hidden them. The Guardian fleet, approaching Earth with confidence, suddenly received alarming sensor readings. Their commander, Zexterra, stared in disbelief at his tactical display as hundreds of human warships appeared from nowhere, surrounding his forces. "Impossible," he whispered. "They're just barbarians." Commander Ryan Powell sat in the captain's chair of the U.S. Invincible, the largest ship in Earth's hidden fleet. He watched as his tactical screen filled with hundreds of green dots representing human vessels, all moving into perfect formation. The red dots, enemy ships, were clustered at the edge of the solar system, clearly confused by what they were seeing. "Open a channel to the enemy flagship," Ryan ordered. The communications officer nodded. "Channel open, sir." Ryan stood, straightening his uniform. "This is Commander Ryan Powell of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have entered sovereign human space with hostile intent. You will power down your weapons and withdraw immediately, or we will respond with force." On the view screen, Vilesi Admiral Zexterra appeared. His purple skin had paled to a lighter shade, but his voice remained arrogant. "A clever trick, humans. Censor ghosts and illusions. We know your primitive species cannot possibly have built this many ships. He laughed, but Ryan could hear the uncertainty in it. The Guardian forces will not be fooled by barbarian tricks. The channel closed. Ryan turned to his tactical officer. Are they powering down? No, sir. They're charging weapons and moving into attack formation. Ryan nodded. He had expected this. The Guardian species were too proud to retreat, even when faced with overwhelming numbers. All ships, battle positions, he ordered. Remember the plan. Use unpredictable maneuvers, nothing they've seen before, nothing they would expect from barbarians. The Guardian fleet fired first, a coordinated barrage of energy weapons aimed at the center of the human formation. But the human ships weren't where they were supposed to be. Instead of the standard defensive pattern that Council tactical doctrine would predict, the Earth vessels had scattered in seemingly random directions. Now, Ryan commanded. The human fleet responded with a completely unconventional attack. Instead of concentrating fire on the enemy's largest ships, they targeted the smallest support vessels first. Rather than maintaining formation, they moved in chaotic patterns that made them nearly impossible to track. Where Council doctrine called for ships to keep their distance, human vessels deliberately flew close to the enemy, exploiting blind spots in their targeting systems. They're confused, reported the censor officer. Their formation is breaking down. On his tactical screen, Ryan could see the Guardian fleet struggling to respond. They were trying to follow their standard battle plans against an enemy that refused to play by the rules. Second wave, execute flanking maneuver, Ryan ordered. Another 100 human ships suddenly accelerated from hiding positions behind Mars, catching the Guardian fleet in a devastating crossfire. Sir, the enemy flagship is attempting to regroup their forces, the tactical officer reported. Ryan studied the movements on his screen. They're falling back on their training. Predictable. All ships, execute maneuver Theta. The human fleet responded instantly, performing a complex series of movements that no Council tactician would ever have considered: sacrificial feints, deliberate collisions between disabled enemy vessels, and ships using debris as shields. Within an hour, half the Guardian fleet had been disabled or destroyed. The survivors were retreating in disarray, their formations shattered. Sir, we're being hailed by the enemy flagship, the communications officer announced. Their shields are down and weapons offline. Ryan nodded. On screen, Admiral Zex Terra appeared again, but the arrogance was gone from his face. A cut on his forehead leaked purple blood, and smoke filled his bridge behind him. How? He asked simply. How did barbarians defeat the most advanced fleet in the Council? Ryan smiled. Because you believe your own propaganda, Admiral. You called us barbarians, and convinced yourselves we were primitive. You never bothered to truly understand us. Your tactics, Zex Terra said slowly. They make no sense. No logical species would fight this way. That's our advantage, Ryan replied. Humans don't always follow logic. Sometimes we follow instinct, creativity, or even desperation. We adapt, we improvise, and we never, ever give up when our home is threatened. He leaned forward. Now, Admiral, about those terms of surrender. 6 months after the Battle of Seoul, Dr. Olivia Bennett stood before the reformed Galactic Council. The massive chamber looked different now. The Council station had been relocated to a neutral system, far from the political centers of any member species. Representatives from all Council races sat in new arrangements, no longer divided by status or age of membership. Olivia smoothed her formal uniform and looked out at the assembled aliens. As Earth's new ambassador, she carried a great responsibility. The eyes of both humanity and the galaxy were upon her. Honored representatives of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice steady and clear. Today marks a new chapter in our shared history. The chamber was silent. Many of the aliens still seemed uncomfortable in the presence of humans. Some looked fearful, others curious, and a few openly hostile. 6 months ago, The 5 guardian species tried to destroy us because they feared our potential. Today, 3 of those species have signed peace treaties with Earth. The other 2 face censure from this very council that they once manipulated. She gestured to the reformed council leadership panel, where representatives from 7 species, including a human, now sat together. The old council called humans barbarians, Olivia continued. They saw our history of conflict and judged us as primitive and dangerous. What they failed to understand was that our struggles made us stronger. Our conflicts taught us the value of peace. Our division showed us the importance of unity. A murmur spread through the chamber as translation devices carried her words to every representative. Humans were never barbarians, she said firmly. We were simply a species that understood the necessity of being able to defend ourselves in a dangerous universe. When we discovered that some council members planned to destroy us, we didn't seek revenge. We sought justice. She activated a holographic display showing Earth's fleet, now serving alongside ships from various council species as a peacekeeping force. Today, I am proud to announce that the Council has unanimously granted humanity full membership, with special provisions acknowledging our unique expertise in defense and security. Earth will serve as the headquarters for the new Council Defense Force, training personnel from all member species. The display changed to show the new training facilities being built on Earth's moon. Aliens of various species could be seen working alongside humans, learning from each other. The old council believed that suppressing emerging civilizations was the path to stability. We believe that embracing diversity makes us all stronger. Every species has something valuable to contribute. As Olivia concluded her speech, the chamber erupted in applause, a human custom that many alien species had quickly adopted. Later that day, Admiral Alex Hayes, the same man who had experienced first contact with the Vilesi years earlier, stood on the observation deck of the new council station. Ships from dozens of species arrived for the first summit of the reformed Galactic Council. "Quite a view," said a familiar voice. Alex turned to see Zex Terra, the former Vilesi admiral who had led the Guardian fleet against Earth. After his defeat and the exposure of the Guardian conspiracy, he had become an unexpected ally, working to reform his own government. "I once called your kind barbarians," Zex Terra said quietly. "I was wrong." Alex nodded. "We all make mistakes. What matters is learning from them. My people still struggle to understand yours," the Vilesi admitted. "Your contradictions confuse us. You create weapons of terrible power, yet show mercy to defeated enemies. You fight with savage intensity, then extend friendship once the battle ends." Alex smiled. "That's what makes us human. We contain multitudes." Together, they watched as more ships arrived, their lights brilliant against the darkness of space. The galaxy was entering a new era, one where humanity stood not as barbarians on the fringes, but as equals at its heart. "The Council called us barbarians," Alex said softly. "Now they call us friends. I think I prefer that."